I think the title of this video could seem a little bit misleading, but no, I'm telling you, I actually think that crackheads are actually kind of cool. Now, I think that just saying that and just leaving it at that can kind of come across as insensitive. So let me expand on what I'm trying to say here. I think in every friendship group, there's always that one guy or girl that acts in a way where they could come across as explosive, as if they don't think at all. That one person that acts in a way where they just don't give a shit. Don't give a fuck about what other people are thinking. Don't care about how people are going to perceive them. They just act in a way where it's ruthless, but in a cool way, in a suave way. You know what I mean? This then made me think about my admiration for crackheads and how I actually see them as pretty cool individuals. Because they don't care about how people are going to perceive them. They don't care about how someone's going to take what they say, how someone's going to take their behavior. They just live life in such a fashion where it's solitary to their own beliefs and values and what's comfortable for them to do. Because they have nothing to lose at the end of the day. Unfortunate, but it, sprouts that level of carelessness, that level of authenticity. And it's crazy because I actually used to be mad scared of crackheads. Like, I had a big fear of them when I was younger, to the point where, like, if I saw them down the street, I really wouldn't go down that street just because I'd be scared that I'd get taken away and never see my mom again. It was really that deep. But I think through growing up and seeing them like just people, just normal average people, and interacting with them, having actual conversations with them, there's a level of authenticity that you just don't get with like normal individuals. And if you do, it's rare. But with crackheads, like 99% of the time, you can almost guarantee the conversation you're gonna have with them. If it's not, drug or money related, it's gonna be a good conversation. It's gonna be a pure and honest conversation. And I think that's one of the reasons why that energy is so attractive. But I think in order to make this more conceptualized, we need to try and define what I see as that energy. Now, I was just gonna pull up some Urban Dictionary definitions, but as you can see, they do not help my video case in the slightest. So I'll just give my explanation right now in a vague way. I think for me, what I see as crackhead or crackhead energy is more so to do with just someone giving actual energy, not being afraid to care about stuff that they care about, not being afraid to actually be themselves, not being afraid to actually encapsulate themselves within every interaction or whatever they do, adding that passion to it. Not being shy of just being disliked or being thought of as weird. I think we live in an age now where thoughts can be filtered into a TikTok comment, and before you even watch the full extent of a video, you're swiping onto the TikTok comment in order to see what everyone else is thinking, so you can form your own opinion. I think that oversimplifies stuff. ChatGPT as well, making it so easy for you to search how to do something or your essay question, which I'm not trying to say is a bad thing, but I'm also not trying to say it's the right thing to do. I just feel like everything's oversimplified, and I feel like those people who are raw and authentic don't really care for those things that much. That might just be a hypothesis that I might need to study when I get older, because personality and actual creativeness and all that good stuff can get saturated, can get filled out of a person when engaging with so much stuff, which is why that rare trait of actually, embodying your own color in this such beige world, it highlights a lot. Streamers like IShowSpeed, for example, I remember when he came into the game, he really set a tone, a new tone that wasn't introduced into the game of like the internet before him, in a way that he did it. At least like he came in such an unapologetic way, to the point where you even liked him or you didn't, but he sure as fuck didn't care if you liked him or didn't. He attracted people just like him into his community, which made him so comfortable to be on the internet. He didn't shy away from himself because people embraced him. And the reason people embraced him is because he introduced a level of imperfection into a world that was already perfected or meant to be perfected. Another example I can give to this is Kai Cenat. Kai Cenat, with all his shouting, screaming and stuff like that, he be doing that a lot. And sometimes it even be annoying me, but what I can say is it helps him because that's his character. He doesn't have to put on a show because it comes so natural to him to put on a show. All in all, makes them both more entertaining, makes them more human, and just more enjoyable to watch, as if they're your own friend that you can see through the screen and touch. And that's not to say that they can't turn it off though. They definitely know when to allow themselves to be more energetic and when to shut it off. I see them in interviews just having a normal conversation with people. They have that ability, but they don't let those situations overpower their whole life and jurisdiction. They allow themselves to be themselves. Creates this, authentic vibe that I've been talking about throughout this whole video. And I keep saying authentic, but we're not getting to the actual point. So let me, get to the point. You know those moments when you ask your friend for an opinion, or you ask them for their reaction onto something that you've done, and you're excited to show them, and they reply with something that just makes you wish you could be a mind reader and get into their head? No? I don't either, because I'm such an authentic guy, and all the people around me are so authentic too. I love my life. Authenticity isn't valued just because of what it is, but it's valued because of how rare it is. So many people are scared to say what they think and say it with, such condemnation, to the point where even if they do say what they think, you probably think they're gonna lie anyways. People don't like to be real because they're scared of how they're going to be perceived. They're scared about embarrassment and how they're going to be judged by the opposing person that they're going to be real to. So they filter out for what they think is the most popular opinion, or the most, approachable opinion to give to someone else. That's what makes authenticity so special. When someone is authentic and they reply in a way that you wasn't expecting, it makes them more of a jewel. Someone that, you just like, okay, I ain't got a question if this guy is saying the real thing or not. They say it with such conviction and such, energy, to the point where it builds a level of trust and honesty within you too. When you're authentic and allow yourself to actually express yourself in the way that you're meant to express yourself. Now, this video is about why I deem, crackhead energy to be so important, not authenticity. So let me wheel it back a little bit. Another point that I want to get into is imperfection. I think being comfortable with your imperfections is important because it relieves you of so much pressure. It makes social settings seem so much more lubricant. It makes it more fluid for you. Makes you able to not fear embarrassment or shame, while knowing that, you are the shit, but, with being the shit, there's also sly situations or scenarios where you're gonna mess up. I feel like we get into our heads too much, to the point where we don't allow ourselves to screw up. And when we do screw up, it makes us feel so damned at that point, because we've put imperfection as such a heavy thing for us, even though it's such a normal part of being a human. I know for a fact at the start of this video, you guys thought of one person that embodies this energy because of how potent it is. And I think the reason that is because of the confidence that comes with it. That confidence, it strikes. It doesn't hide away. It doesn't shy away, to the point where you're questioning, like, damn, like, how can this person just, operate in such a way? Because they don't question themselves. They don't question about how they're going to be perceived. They don't question about, how people are going to take them. They just do. Being able to do that is important because it allows you to not waste time just thinking. And you end up just enjoying yourself more. I feel like the reason confidence is so important is because it leaves room for error, but also leaves room for you to pick yourself back up from that error. Even when you stumble, it's done with a little bit of suave. When you got the right amount of confidence, it's crazy. The main reason I think this is so important nowadays, and even more potent than it used to be, is because we live in an era where guys are taking, alpha male advice, red pill, blue pill, all of that, to really stimulate them and consider how they're gonna act throughout the day. A lot of people are losing their own color and their own shine, to the point where they're becoming bots, animatronic. They're not becoming their own people or embracing who they are, which makes a lot of conversations nowadays seem stale. See them a little bit, just flagrant. Social media makes it so, our brains are really fried. We're trying to chase an aesthetic that doesn't even exist, and with that we embody such characteristics that we don't even want to have, but because we find the aesthetic of something cool, we embrace it. An example I can give is this opium aesthetic of being narcissistic or being nonchalant, and it makes people embody these things even if whether they like it or don't, and that draws away from their character. It draws away from their uniqueness. I think when you find individuals that really embrace that, not being fearful to care about something, or just giving an energy that is kind of unheard of or rare nowadays, you gotta hold on to it. I saw Tyler the Creator talking about how you can be too cool to the point where you freeze to death, and I think that's a real thing. I think like sometimes people try to put on a front where they don't really care about what they're doing, but they do care about what they're doing. And because of that, you know, it makes them so caught up on that look or what they think they should be looking like, to the point where that uniqueness, it goes away for us to blend into a crowd of people who are already in whatever niche you're trying to get into. And that's why I think that energy is so attractive and so potent. You know, you can feel it from a mile away. You can feel it when someone just doesn't care, but cares, and, you know, just is likable but not likable, and they don't care if they're likable. Know what I mean? That just makes them even more likable. I feel like we can take that for granted, that light that we have within us, because I feel like we all have something like that within us intuitively. But it's if you decide to shine that light within yourself, allow it to be, you know, expressed into the world. Know what I mean? In any way, shape, or form. It don't even gotta be in the ways I describe, but it just gotta be like being yourself. You know, embracing what makes you you. Allowing what makes you you to be displayed on full display, on full television. Not caring if someone's gonna change the channel or stay on the channel. Know what I mean? Because you know that you're the best channel out there. So someone's gonna come along at some point. It's that insulting confidence to the point where you're like, damn, let someone miss out on me. Let someone miss out on what I have to offer. Let them. Because at the end of the day, it's their loss. Living life in that way is so much more beneficial. At least it seems like that. You really gotta take the chance to find out yourself. But yes, mans, we're 1900 Thoughts. Bring you back another banger. Bring you back another thought. From the dome to your phone. I'm out.